Students seem to have an inborn fascination with explosion, and one of the associations with chemistry is always having an explosion. So you don't want to disappoint them. And so what I have here is often what we refer to as a methanol cannon. It's just a regular detergent bottle. Don't use anything bigger than 1 liter. And I've put 2 nails in the side so that they almost touch each other. They should be about 2 to 3 millimeters apart inside. I've held them in position using some hot melt glue, as you can see in the close-up here. So the nail is held in position with a little bit of glue on either side, and they will almost touch on the inside. I then add a small amount of methyl hydrate. You only need a milliliter or 2. The amount is not critical. And then put on a cork stopper. Do not use a rubber stopper. Cork is fairly light, and it can, if it hits something, it'll bounce off when it shoots. Rubber will tend to have a much greater impact when it hits something. Then I clamp it in place on a retort stand and point it to a safe position in the classroom or even the gymnasium if you want to do it in the gymnasium. Then I take 2 wires and connect them to the nails, and the other 2 wires I connect to my igniter. And then you can stand back, and if you so desire, you can use longer wires, and then you begin to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can see that the cork flies out with a tremendous force, sending the bottle and stand back, and the cork projects into the room. It's also a good demonstration of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The cork shoots out, the bottle shoots back. Now let's try that a second time. There's still fuel left in here, so just shake it up, put it back in place, point it in the safe direction, and again begin our countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and nothing happens. This is totally predictable from my perspective. Why is that? It's a good question to ask the students. During the first explosion, I used up all of the oxygen that was in the container, and the oxygen itself was not replenished, and as a consequence, when we tried to fire it again a second time, it did not work. What we need to do is to get rid of all of the products of combustion, and can do that by squeezing the container to push out the stale, used air and bring in fresh oxygen. I'll now darken the room, take the stopper off, and we'll just ignite the mixture without shooting out a stopper. So let me turn the lights off. Again, we'll have our countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. You may have seen the flame shoot out as the methanol ignited in the container. One application of this is the internal combustion engine. During each cycle of the engine, a mixture of fuel and air has to be drawn into the cylinder, compressed, ignited by the spark plug, which drives down the piston. In turn, the piston comes up and exhausts the combustion products into the exhaust system. The exhaust valve closes, the intake valve opens up, allows a fresh mixture to come in again. That has to occur around 3,000 times per minute. And so you can see that's a very efficient machine. Now, a word on the igniter. What I'm using here is a barbecue lighter. When I push the button, it creates a spark through what is known as a piezoelectric effect. And that causes a spark to go between the two wires at the end. What I've done is taken the wires that come out of the igniter itself and connected them to two copper wires, which I've taped together so that I can use this to ignite my Bunsen burner, for example. I can use it camping and light my propane stove and other devices. And to use it on this application, I pull the wires apart and clip my wires to the two wires and to my bottle. Another device you can use is a butane lighter. You can take that apart, and there's a little red plastic that you can push in and actually pull off the metal sleeve. And what you see inside here is a wire, and there's another wire which is at the top. By pulling the plastic housing apart, you can open it up and take out the top wire, which sits here, and there's another wire which you can pull off on the side and pull them back. You can then bring the wire back, close it up, put the cap back on, and you can then also put the original cover back if you so desire. You can then clip the alligator clips to these wires and to the methanol cannon, to the nails on the side, and you're then ready to ignite the mixture. So let's have our countdown again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The lighter works well, but you have to make sure that the nails are fairly close together, because the spark is not quite as strong as the spark from the barbecue lighter. But you can see that both of them will work. It is important that you stress safety with a demonstration like this, because if you use a much larger container, it can obviously rupture and be dangerous. Also, as I want to stress the fact that you use something light, use a cork, for example, rather than a rubber stopper, to avoid sending a projectile which can damage property or worse, injure one of the students. So always be very careful